Archdiocese of Birmingham, and I'm here with John Pridmore, the author of From Gangland to Promised Land. So thank you, John, for coming and being with us today.
Thanks for inviting us.
Okay, well, first of all, your book, From Gangland to Promised Land, tells the story of your whole life, but I wonder if you could perhaps tell us the story of your life in perhaps just 1 or 2 minutes.
Sure. Yeah, I was born in Walthamstow, and I was baptised a Catholic, but I was never really brought up in any faith. At the age of 10, I came home a normal night, and my parents told me that I had to choose who I wanted to live with because they were getting divorced. And I expect inside I made an unconscious decision that I wasn't going to live anymore. It wasn't going to love anymore, because I really thought if you don't love, you don't get hurt. My mum ended up having a nervous breakdown and went to psychiatric hospital, and my dad remarried. And there was a lot of violence in the two families coming together, which just added to my pain. At 13 I started stealing. I think because it was a cry for help, I wanted someone to know the pain I was in. At 15 I was put in detention centre. I left home at 15. My only qualification was stealing, so that's more or less what I did. At 19 I was in prison again, and there was another change in me. I think the way I dealt with the abuse I suffered as a kid is I turned that abuse into anger. So I was always fighting. I came out of there very angry, even more so because I was like on 23-hour solitary confinement while I was in there. And just thought, what you want out of this world you take, because no one really gives you anything. Started bouncing around the Eastern and Western clubs of London, met some guys who seemed to have everything. They had the money, the power, the best drugs, the best girls. And I really thought that if I had what they had, then I'd be fulfilled, then I'd be satisfied. So I started working for these people, but before very long I wasn't working for them, I was working with them. And these were the people who ran most of the organised crime in London. But in a very short space of time I had everything that the world says makes you happy: the penthouse flat, the sports cars, more money than I could spend. But inside there was a real emptiness, because no matter what I seemed to achieve, nothing fulfilled me, nothing satisfied me. And because of that I turned to what the world offers. So I was on crack cocaine, smoking dope loads, going out of fashion, drinking really heavy, anything to take away that pain from within, which was like your conscience crying out for something better. So that's really how I ended up in that lifestyle.
I know that you became a Christian and a Catholic, but before that actually happened and that occurred, what would you say was the main thing which prevented you from taking or from leaving your previous lifestyle?
I think that I honestly believed if there was a God, then the way I was living my lifestyle, then I was going to hell. So it was much better to not believe there was a God. And I think it was almost like a conscious decision that God doesn't exist and I won't have anything to do with it. Because if I do, then I'm going to hell. Because I think the thing that the devil is very good at covering up is the cross. So as long as we don't know that there's a salvation for everything we've done, I just think, well, I'm going to hell because I can't be forgiven. I don't understand forgiveness. I don't understand the cross. I think Archbishop Fulton Sheen said the thing the devil most tries to hide is the crucifixion of Christ. And I was blinded to that crucifixion. So therefore I won't believe in God. So I think that was the biggest thing.
Okay. And perhaps just to give people some kind of perspective as well, maybe you could give us some, just perhaps one example of something from your life which was perhaps the most extravagant thing or the most far-gone thing.
Well, I remember one time that I was working a club we part-owned in the West End, and there was 2 guys who came up and they said they're on the guest list. And I was going out with a girl who was sort of doing the guest list, and they weren't on and they were just winding me up. Even though these guys were no physical threat, they started saying that, you know, you can't take us, we take you. And it was really an insult to my reputation. And all I had was my reputation. So I ended up nearly killing these 2 guys because they were trying to insult my reputation. Years later, I remember I was with Mother Teresa, and it was at the time when they made this horrendous programme about her on Channel 4. And it was all lies, but this sister came up to Mother Teresa and I was in her presence, and she just said, "Mother, they're taking away your reputation. You have to fight these people." And I remember Mother smiled and she said, "Ah, my reputation, one less cross to carry." And I immediately went back to this situation where I was willing to kill to protect my reputation. Whereas Mother Teresa, one of the most famous people in the world, looked on her reputation as being the cross to carry. And so I think that's how dead and ridiculous that life becomes. The only thing you have to protect is something which is very meaningless.
Well, I don't think you're alone with that. I think that, you know, that's the story for the vast majority of young people, protecting their reputation and trying to find happiness in dead-end situations. So what words of encouragement would you give to anyone who is thinking about getting more involved in their faith, or even just, you know, just rejecting their old lifestyle completely and just finding Jesus?
Yeah, I think that, you know, when I was earlier in my life, I thought the commandments were like chains. They stopped us being free. So I almost went on pursuit of breaking the commandments. And as I broke them, I realised that what I really was chained to that sin. And it was when I went to confession that I really found that freedom that I never thought was possible in having my innocence given back to me. And I would just say for young people out there, the world is great at luring you into this filth, but it is filth, a lot of it. And look for the wonder and look for the joy. And you know, I thought I was a rebel before. I wasn't a rebel, I was an idiot. Now I'm a rebel. You know, to go against the tide of what everyone says is fine, and to actually stand up for the morals and what's right, and to stand up for Christ. I've never been so happy, I've never been so fulfilled, and now I'm a rebel. So I'm a rebel with a cause.
Even though when you're a gangster, nobody told you what to do, and you could do whatever you wanted, now you're actually more free.
Absolutely, without any doubt at all. Before, when I was a gangster, I thought I was free, but I was anything but free. I was a complete prisoner. But now, the more I give, the more I understand why the commandments are there, the more I try and live a moral life, the more freedom and happiness and peace I seem to get.
Well, thank you. And the penultimate question, there's a lot of young Catholics out there, I know, and I can put myself in that bracket, who would say you keep falling into the same sin time and time again, and it's very difficult to leave an old lifestyle. But what words of advice would you give to people who do find themselves, to encourage them?
Yeah, I think during the club I fall every day, and I'm always falling, I'm always losing my temper, I'm always falling into lust, I'm always falling into... But just keep on getting up. No, God never gives up on us. He's always there to pick us up. He's always there to brush us down. And I think we hurt God far more by not getting up than by, you know, our weaknesses. Our weaknesses show us how much we need God. So never be afraid of your weaknesses. Be afraid of too much pride in not saying sorry. And I just keep on getting up and saying sorry. And every time I get up, He's having a feast for me, like God the Father had a feast for the prodigal son. So to me, my spirituality is I am the prodigal son every day. And He loves having a feast for me, and I love receiving the feast. It's great.
And the very last question, just any message or word of advice that you want young people to take away?
Yeah, I would say know that Jesus is there. He loves you personally, completely. There's nothing in you He doesn't accept, and He wants you to know Him. And the more you open your heart to Him, the more He'll show you the wonder of who you are. I remember when I was at school, I was told I was stupid because I was dyslexic and I'd never amount to anything. Since I opened my heart to God, I've wrote 3 books, 2 of them are bestsellers, one's an international bestseller. Last year I was in 16 different countries, on television in loads of those countries. God never calls the qualified, He qualifies the chosen. And the minute you open your heart to Him, He shows you the wonder of who you really are. And you won't find that without Him. And so really open your heart to Him, because He wants to show you how much He loves you.